You won't believe this, but a fellow in khaki shorts just climbed over our fence, got chased by our bull, and disappeared into the woods behind our compost pile. And no, I did not spike the coffee. That's what I explained to 911 at 6:14 a.m. in fuzzy slippers holding a spatula covered in scrambled eggs. The dispatcher asked me if I was joking. I replied, "Our 1,800-pound bull doesn't joke." Then I hung up because what I discovered alongside the alias was going to make this a whole uglier. It was a typical Tuesday on Sparrow Court, the type where dew sparkles, sprinklers buzz in harmony, and someone's already leaf-blowing a clean driveway. I was scrambling eggs, observing our bull tighten to what appeared to be the neighbor's plastic gnome. My husband Nate was out. Out strengthening the fence, Titan regards boundaries like voluntary guidelines. Then there was Greg Waller, the HOA's self-appointed enforcer. Greg was the sort who'd laminate his own fan letters, armed with a clipboard he brandished like a scepter, and mirrored shades he wore indoors. He referred to himself as a community standards monitor, but he was really a busybody nosy Parker. Last week he caught us $75 because our zucchini vines had edged an inch beyond the garden boundary. He once lectured a child for doodling hopscotch squares at 6:07 a.m. I saw him on the security cam, sculling at our gate, eyeing suspicious. Then he scaled the Fencino call. No note, just jumped right over and ended up in Titan's stomping ground. I came close to dropping the skillet. By the time I ran out, barefoot, Greg was dashing across our yard. Titan, sensing intruder, roared like a diesel engine and charged for an instant. Greg thought he could outrun a bull wearing loafers. What came next was a cacophony of screams, snorts, and broken lawn decor. Greg cleared the fish pond, stumbled over a wind sculpture, destroyed our herb garden, and ran into the woods like a scared deer. Nate ran up tool in hand, blur-eyed. Did Titan just? He stopped seeing Greg's clipboard lodged in the time patch. Yep, I said, and he lost a shoe. Titan walked back chewing what could have been a sunglass lens. I called the cops, but when I explained the situation, the dispatcher sounded doubtful. I said Greg could be injured. She vowed a patrol. Nobody showed up in a community where residents complain of crooked mailbox flags. Greg's disappearance should have prompted a manhunt. The quiet was oppressive. I informed Nate I was investigating further. He provided me with the information that Luke did not receive a suit, but I was already on the chase scene. Greg's shoe, size 10, clutched a dirty sock and a broken walkie-talkie filled with static. Nate adjusted it, picking up a garbled voice perimeter, secure files uploaded, then nothing. What was he into? I muttered. Nate eyed the woods. Did he even make it out that night? I baked cornbread me, stress outlet, while replaying the footage. It showed Greg's climb, Titan's charge and his woodland dash. The blank 10 minutes of static. No critters, no shadows, nothing the next day. I went to Ellen Carver, HOA president, and Greg's boss. Her yard was a showroom, roses like plastic hedges, razor sharp. She met me all smiles and, "Venomila, hi, what's up?" Told her about Greg. She didn't flinch. "He's likely in one piece, maybe getting a break. A bull ran him into the woods." She sipped at her coffee. He was obsessed with rules, left feeling unease. Something reeked, and it wasn't her lies going through the cameras. I noticed the system had been disabled at 6:12 a.m., just after Greg's prank hacked my stomach. Nodded. Then Titan acted strange, pawing the compost heap. I took a shovel in case of a body instead of that. I saw Greg's clipboard, torn dirty, covered in a bag from an old store. Nate said, "This is more than weird." The woods towered as the sun went down. Greg was either lost or deleted, and Sparrow Court was no longer about lawn manners. Something sinister was brewing the next morning, fire of burnt coffee and terror. Nate confused salt with sugar, a symptom of sleeplessness or fear. Titan gazed at the trees, waiting for Greg to emerge, waving a nice. But the wood remained quiet, too still, for an area where people tattle about unshoveled walks. I drank black coffee on the porch, watching the mowed grass where Greg ran from. He'd worn a polo, not so much wilderness attire. Nate showed me his Fanino Police News no missing person report. Greg had been away on vacation for a man who discovered a retiree for a too festive wreath. Nate shook Greg's shoe. It was scented with cologne and defeat. We decided to snoop ourselves. Ourselves, equipped with suspicion wit and a bull with boundary issues. We began at Ellen's, her yard, a botanical fortress. Nate stood on the sidewalk while I knocked. Ellen opened, all charm and teeth. "Greg's on vacation?" I asked. He needed a reset. She said he was bullied by a bull. Her smile did not waver. Sometimes individuals need room space. She closed the door like a vault. Nate growled, "Cover up city." We visited Mrs. Hinsley, 92, gossip keener than her shears. She leaned in. Greg was here Tuesday evening ranting about secret HOA meetings. Said Ellen's stashing things in her garage, tumbled on my sprinkler, and hobbled away. Secret meetings files surveillance home. Nate adjusted the walkie-talkie after static. A voice documents ready target marked redirect packet, not long crew chat. Nate, XIT security, recognized our camera's blackout was no bug. Somebody hijacked our network that evening. Titans ringed the compost once more. I dug up, revealing a crumpled HO newsletter wrapped around a note they're aware of. The buyouts, Ellen's deleting files, yard scans tomorrow, dated 2 days prior. Greg's run, this wasn't cute anime, it was lethal. Nate constructed a barricade of scrapwood Titan, overturned a rake in support. I backed up the gaps in footage, note, and audio knocking on doors. I discovered Greg had been targeting the Garcas for a swing set, the Patels for a gazebo, even the Wilsons' yard of the month, champions for non-traditional mulch. Then I met Tara Lynn, a reserved newcomer with award-winning eggplants. She stiffened when I said Greg. He was making lists, taking pictures, said some don't belong here. Ellen's discovery people into foreclosure, purchasing homes cheaply through a front, flipping them. The pieces fell into place. Ellen's coolness. The USBs, the tech sabotage. Greg had discovered a fraud and paid for it at 1:16 a.m. I spotted Ellen wearing a trench coat, pushing a folder under Tarara's fence mate had seen it using binoculars by dawn. It had disappeared. Titan, standing on the compost like a watchman snorting at shadows. The neighborhood divided, half wanted truth, half dreaded. Its Sparrow Court wasn't about rules anymore. It was about power by Saturday. The air felt thick, fences higher. Smile, twisted lawnmowers remained. Parked joggers disappeared. Ellen's daily weed. Tips, email stopped. Nate sharpened shears. Not to plants, but readiness. Titan glared at the roses as if they'd offended him. I examined a folder we'd stolen from Ellen's porch, taped under Tarara's birdhouse. It contained violation notices for empty houses, all foreclosed, purchased by Blue Haven. Reali, a ghost company. Nate followed the sales. Ellen signed every waiver. The HOA's yard audit gave us cover. While Ellen led her clipboard brigade, we broke into her garage. It reeked of bleach and secrets tools. Tagged newsletters piled in the back. Fertilizer bags was a locked keypad cabinet. Nate cracked it in seconds, exposing USBs, maps, and files, flagging homes for purchase hours. Was tagged trouble asset monitor. A Phase 5 folder compliance contained photos, credit reports. Even our porch coffee moments tagged for destruction. Another file, containment. G. Waller referenced Greg's breach of confidentiality and recommended relocation. If he didn't quiet down, we took copies and crept out that evening. A thud awakened May, a drone. Hovered near our window. Titan charged, bashing it into the compost. Its memory stored images of our house. A second drone remained, then took off to Ellen's. She knows, we know. Nate said, "Good," I said. "Let's make it loud." Sunday, we had a bull-friendly barbecue, grilling burgers, distributing flyers suggesting HOA fraud. Neighbors hushed, asked questions. Tara fainted, mock reformed pins. Mrs. Pinsley brought coleslaw and cursed tyrants by noon. It was a subdued uprising that night. A block call rang, a quivering voice. "This is Greg. They're monitoring the grid. Don't trust the board. I have proof. Help, the line went dead." "He's alive," I warned Nate, his heart racing. Monday, Detective Carla Ree arrived, all business, in a frayed blazer. "Heard your bull's a better shot than my team," she joked. We showed her the chase path, shoe and walkie-talkie. She replayed the audio, frowning, encrypted tactical channel. Not civilian. She took our hacked footage and note digging in the compost. Titan uncovered Greg's phone. Muddied but alive. Nate opened it, finding one video last. MPP4 shot hours prior to Greg's run. Greg, pale in his car, whispered, "If you see this, I'm gone." The HO is a front. Ellen's using fines to force foreclosures. Flipping homes through Blue Haven. I tried to report it. They broke into my house. They've got files, cameras, recordings. Stay away from Ellen's garage, we froze. They'll come for us. Nate said we hid USB copies and set a drop a fake laptop with dummy HOA leaks in the garage window. Ajar at 2:01 a.m. Motion sensors pinged a hooded figure. Evan Holt, HOA secretary, sneaked in, plugged in a drive. Nate flipped the lights. Titan bellowed. Evan bolted, clearing the fence, but cameras caught his face. Reese took the video with the promise of a warrant within 48 hours. Wednesday, unmarked vehicles ran. Sparrow Court police raided Ellen's and Evan's residences. Ellen was courteous, inviting us to sit down, but broke when produced before her. The warrant. Evan attempted to flee in sweatpants, dropping a USB in a binder. Reese entered Ellen's, coming out with files. She gave us a folder bank, documents, emails, a map of our street with houses numbered for profit, ours labeled for takeover. Ellen's plan: locate families into default, buy low through Blue Haven, flip high, 8 houses in 12 months, some hosting surveillance bases. Greg hiding out at a cabin, confirmed to Reese he'd escaped after a 3-to folder in his desk drawer with his brother's address. He abandoned his phone, hoped it would be discovered. The story broke. Local headlines yelled HOA, scandal memes crowned Titan heard of truth. Ellen received 15 years for fraud and surveillance. Evan turned witness. The board fell apart, and Tara spearheaded an open new council, wiping fines away and assigning Titan mascot. Greg moved back quieter, joining us on the porch coffee. Ellen in court testified, "People don't know what's best." The courtroom applauded her sentence. I didn't know. Kind wasn't uncommon. Sparrow Court became messier, louder. Real Nate planted herbs. I wrote about delicate communities. Titan roam free, knocking bins to laughter, not fines. One sunset, Nate grinned on the porch swing. We brought down a cartel featuring a bull and cornbread. I nodded. Never dull the storage facility. Greg's key opened, contained Ruth's last secrets, photographs, violation records, resident resilience scores. We flipped it over, revealing a pipeline of greed. Sparrow Court was not perfect, but it was ours, gained through chaos, truth, and a bull who despised trespassers.